Here we are with a 1957 Hammarlund HQ110, 1957 vintage, and then we're going to jump to a 2021 shortwave listening device. Okay, I'm on AM listening on 80 meters, 75 and 80 meters, and you can see the top scale there. But we're on AM right now. We've got the sensitivity turned all the way up. Carrier level is pretty hot. I got the volume turned all the way down.
And the group, good morning, Doug and Rick. I don't think I said hello to you before. K4YBC, W4GUC. Uh-oh, Cuz is sleeping. Maybe he's choked on his breakfast. Hey, Cuz. Guess I should go ahead, huh? Yeah, go ahead. WK4. Well, and there ain't nobody else. I thought sure there'd be somebody else check in, but anyway. Terry, I hate your phone committed suicide like that. That's terrible. It's 911. I figured they would just call and lay the phone down and wait for somebody to show up and check on them because there's no audio. I didn't know. It'd be easier, but... And, yeah, I heard about the Texas wreck. I haven't seen any pictures or anything.
So good strong AM signals. I don't listen to a lot of AM, so let's switch over to sideband.
Okay, Rick.
Get the adjustments right here.
Brandon, I'm on the Valiant. I was trying out a new board. And Cliff, no, I had done a prototype where I I use a photo process to etch it.
So we're on sideband.
And I've been thank you for your announcement, sir. I'm assuming he's going to have that at UK? I am not sure. That's the one thing that wasn't in the text, Rodney, so I'm sorry. You want to be short time or comment?
On the sideband, the S meter is not operational. The way the radio was designed, carrier level is of no consequence on sideband on this particular radio. It's working fine on AM, which is what it's designed to do, but it's not designed to give you a signal level on sideband. And the reason for this is because the meter depends on the AVC, the automatic volume control setting, in order to work correctly as an S meter. So the only time that the AVC works on the Hammarlund is when you're in AM mode. When you're not in AM mode, you have to turn the AVC off in order for the radio to receive. So that's the way they designed the radio. Seemed a little peculiar to me, but remember, this was 1957. And then we'll use the Q multiplier knob to narrow the Q.
About her, I'll be back.
And now I'm going to try to illustrate the use of the selectivity control. This tries to help you isolate adjacent signals. It works best in CW, and it does work a little bit in phone, but the phone transmissions are a little wide. If you get a little over 3 kilohertz, these knobs just can't quite narrow it enough to isolate a single sideband transmission. That's about as tight as we can get. Still have some adjacent chatter there.
I had to take my wife to Gallup West to get a coat shot yesterday, so I had to drive through it yesterday morning. I drove over a tree, under a tree, through a tree, and then had to cut one to get out of it.
Oh, that's trying to get off your farm, huh?
I was just trying to get to town. I got off the farm by. This was all out on the hard road.
Okay, that's the other.
Did your wife get her shot?
Yeah, that's got it. We went up there and got it. Once I got it, excuse me, the roads are good, but getting to them, they were awful.
That's about as tight as I can get it.
Yeah, they have a lot of trees down this way.
And then we can move down.
They give it to you, the
Shoulders the one usually everybody that tries to, let's say probably is left-handed, they get it in the left shoulder.
That's real good.
You can see that the Hammarlund HQ110 is a beautiful and very, very tight radio, very strong signals, and very good band conditions. Really helped today, but this is such a joy to listen to the shortwave bands when they're a little quieter. This radio is very, very sensitive and has a great sound. It has a 6-inch speaker sitting up on top. You probably can't see the speaker box that I 3D printed, but it's got great sound, and it's just a joy to sit there and tune up and down the bands and listen.
Whatever used it in a while.
I haven't used it in 3 years. When my buddy shipped back here, Ellis, they broke my P4 key.
You may wonder, what's the point in a ham band receiver when all of the transceivers that you have on your bench in the shack there will do the very same thing? You can tune and listen without keying down on the mic, as they say. And I think the point is that we're resurrecting some of this old vintage boat anchor radio equipment. And this Hammarlund was designed to be used next to a standalone transmitter. There is actually a connection in the back of the radio that allows you to shut the receiver off when you're keying on your transmitter. I've added a shortwave listening radio recently to my listening bench. Got a few shortwave listening radios here and love to just sit and listen to the bands on the different radios. But today I've added something a little different. It's the RTL-SDR.com shortwave listening software defined radio. This is all the stuff that came with the radio. This is the receiver, and it's an HF and basically a full band dongle. Comes with an external antenna dipole with whips, different length whips that you can, they're telescopic and adjustable, of course. Comes with a little tripod and a little mount for the tripod and a window holder. and of course the cable to connect the antenna to the dongle. So let's get it set up and see how it does. Okay, we'll switch to 80 meters. And let's tune to 80 meters. Let's see what we've got. There's not wrong time of the day. Okay, here we go. We're on 75 and 80 meters, and I've got some activity here. Just a couple of guys chatting. I'll hit mute.
Yeah, but you take Bruce's computer away from him. He's down there.
All right.
The dirty little secret name.
All right. And we'll just come over here to another 3947.
I played Trivial Pursuit on here one night.
Listen to that, man.
Pretty good day here. The sun has come out. Some of the 2 to 3 inches of sleet we had on the ground is going away, but I see the temperature's headed back down right here now. But I think we've gotten up close to 40 degrees today, but it hasn't been a real warm day, although we've had sunshine. So a few more days of...
That's been bad at the 10th tower, bro.
Put up a tower down there, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here in West Virginia and
See if I can work some 6 meter out of this hollow down here.
Right. And we can kill the quietness, kill the static when they're not talking.
It's good to have a stainless steel sink big enough you can put something in it. You know, one of them like you see in a restaurant. Them reasonable too off of the marketplace.
So it's nice and quiet.
Does it pump it up over?
Come up here to this 3947 net.
Number 53, WD4MU2. Good afternoon, Ray.
Good afternoon to you, Tom. This is here. 32 degrees here, and it's a nice pretty day outside, but boy, you can't stay out there long. Big cold.
And we got some guys up here on 3950.
That's the way it is.
Let's close the bandwidth up on that a little bit. At 3950.
Oh, yeah.
What was that? Everson calling in tonight where it's just happening.
Right on 3950, and I've got the bandwidth set for 3300.
No telling.
So I can bank it, crank it up, and pick up both of them. See what's up here. So the 3947 is right next to him. I know I saw him up there.
PLB in the Virginia phone, that's K4WHN. Oh man, it's been a beautiful day when you look outside, but I tell you what, when you go out there, oh Lord, you better have on a good jacket and everything.
So you get the idea of the software-defined radio receiver. It's a sweet little thing. You can buy these off of Amazon for about $25 to $30. And anybody who's interested in ham radio and has a laptop, I would definitely recommend getting one just to be able to play with and be able to see the waterfall. I know that many of you have waterfall radios, and you can do the same thing with your ham radios and then also transmit. But it's a nice addition to anyone who is into shortwave listening. I've just listening to some ham radio bands here with you, but this particular receiver will receive DC to 2.8 or 3 gigahertz. So it is a full range receiver. It does FM, AM, sideband. It does some digital work. And so it's a pretty cool little device for $30. I wouldn't recommend trying to use the antennas that come with the device for the HF bands because the antennas are very limited. So I'm using an HF amateur radio antenna that's 65, 70 feet up in the air, and it's just pulling all these stations like crazy. So I'm a little bit spoiled. Some of you won't have access to a ham radio, amateur radio antenna like that, but if you do, this is a real nice little toy to play with on your laptop. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let's continue just bouncing around on 75 and 80, since you can see tremendous amount of activity here at this time. Okay, I jumped to 40 meters here, and you can see there's quite a bit of activity on 40 meters as well.
I'll get the message. Yeah, you know, gotta let the VFO stabilize. That's a big... And the fourth project I have is my wife and I have a... How that transpired. Oh, man.
Yep, got our squelch.
In the camper, so I have a very small Arduino called I think it's called a Nano. It's too darn difficulty, but difficult function.
We had 2 820s and we had 5 830s. So
Okay, the point here is that you can move around the screen. You have a lot of flexibility at the click of a mouse. So you're not tuning knobs up and down the bands. You're just basically looking right at the screen and bumping around. You can actually have several QSOs selected. I've got 2 or 3, as you can see here, and I'm trying to delete them all now, but you can actually have 3 or 4 QSOs turned on, and it'll jump from one to the other depending on the squelch settings and the signal strength. So those of you that love to listen to multiple conversations can just jump around back and forth without even touching the controls. It gets a little bit overwhelming, especially with the activity like it is right now. But just wanted to give you a feel for how the SDR, the RTL-SDR USB shortwave listening and HF, VHF, UHF radio works on this MacBook Air. We could bump down here to WWV. There it is. And we'll switch it to AM.
At the tone, 21 hours, 51 minutes, coordinated universal time.
And I don't have it tuned for that. I'm pretty close, I guess. So there you have it. We've gone from a 1957 40-pound ham radio listening rig to a 2021 4-ounce shortwave radio and ham radio listening rig. Hope you enjoyed the video.